Hi everybody, welcome to episode 2 of Food for Footy. Thanks to everybody who joined us last week. Big shout out to @Kev444 who said how much he enjoyed the podcast. Murchy, he said that you definitely got a red card for the Palace in the top 7 comment.
Yeah,
That should
I
be a
can
red
see
card.
that.
Also gave me a red card for the 3 promoted sides
Mate,
staying up.
yeah, that was an awful prediction.
Yeah, we'll take that. But
yeah,
Kev, glad you enjoy it and hope you enjoy this one too. So a little reminder of who we are. Okay, so we call ourselves the normal ones. Normal ones. This is your standard pub football chat. Okay, we've got our Chelsea fan guests with us this week, Michael and Dom. And what we do as well is review some food. So big shout out to Boo Burger, who have provided us with these burgers and chips for us. We're going to be reviewing those as we go and ranking if it is good food for footy. Okay, now if you have a restaurant or if you have a takeaway or you know anyone that does and you'd like us to review your food and see if it is good food for footy, get in touch. Slide into our DMs and we'll come to you, no problem. So let's start with the weekend's footy so far. Now we haven't had Sunday, it's Sunday today, so Arsenal and Tottenham is still to come. But there were some interesting results.
Yeah, there really was. I think we have to start with Liverpool, really. I think that was everyone's banker on Liverpool putting 3 or 4 past Forest. For me, I really wanted that to happen. A, because I'm a Leicester fan, and B, because I've got 3 Liverpool players in my FPL team. So thank you, Liverpool, for that. What do you think, Adam?
Well, I was about to start my food there, thinking that I could have a bit before then, but we'll dive straight into it. We weren't at the races.
No.
We weren't at the races. I mean, I think if we'd have played for another 90 minutes, we still wouldn't have scored.
Yeah.
You have those days. I think after the international break, I don't think Liverpool ever, I've known us do well after international break. I think we always struggle a little bit.
We've got another one next month.
I know.
Yeah.
But look, fair play to Forest. Came with a game plan. Sat deep. Defended well. And then as soon as they brought on Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, and went at us, and Nuno got it spot on.
Yeah.
Wait until the time where we were starting to get a bit desperate, expose ourselves a little bit more, and then bang. So disappointing.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Let's hope we bounce back.
I'm sure you will. I mean, I think it was just a blip.
It's not panic station.
No, not at all.
You read a lot on.
You have a look at the stats as well. What was it? Diaz hit the post.
Yeah.
You had a few clear-cut chances as well.
Jota should have scored.
Yeah. I've only really seen the highlights because obviously I was watching the Leicester game.
We've queued nicely to that.
Yeah. So I'll just get quickly in on that. Drew to all. If you asked me before the game, would I have taken a point? Palace 100% would have taken a point. However, the way that it's gone about, and we ended up conceding in the last dying seconds of the game from a really, really poor decision from somebody like Conor Coder, it was just really poor. And we've given away 2 very crucial points that we could have done with. And I think it was really negative play and managerial tactics from Steve Cooper to make the subs that he did. Hamza Chowdhury, for one, is not good enough to play in the Premier League. And Conor Cody, for me, coming straight back from injury, we didn't need to go for a 5, and that's cost us again.
I never saw Vardy scoring again in the Premier League. I just not see him being prolific.
He was very good yesterday. He ran the channels. He was looking like it was 6-7 years ago. It was really strange. What did Newcastle want to pay for Gay? 70 million, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, 70 outpaced him. Crazy. He was really good yesterday. So fingers crossed he can keep that up for us, and we'll see what happens.
Any other big results? I mean, we'll come to Chelsea.
Yeah.
We'll come to Chelsea soon. That is the episode today. Is a Chelsea episode.
Yeah. I think the results bar that were fairly average. I mean, the one that probably did shock me a bit was Ipswich picking a point up at Brighton, who I thought have been really good this season.
I said outside the box.
Yeah, clean sheet as well. So fair play to Ipswich for that. I still think they'll go down. Southampton will definitely go down. Watching the United game yesterday.
Do you think United's season kickstarts now?
No, I don't. I still think United.
It's Southampton. That's the thing. I've been looking at social medias and look. After a Liverpool loss, I either completely avoid social media or I'd stay on it and see what the general vibe was. And United fans, giving it the big un, laughing at Liverpool for losing to Forest, and I get that. I'd take joy in that too.
Yeah, of course.
But you played Southampton.
Rashford looked good.
Rashford looked better.
But,
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Rashford looked good, didn't he?
Southampton.
Yeah, Southampton will pull with us
You
last
love the
season.
Forest.
Yeah, all right.
No, Forest, no disrespect to any
But
Forest fans out there.
I don't know. I mean, I think we always say this with United. We always say this is the moment they kick on. This is the moment.
Yeah,
It doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
And it's not really happened since Fergie left.
No.
They've been in this kind of state of limbo where, you think they're wicked result, bang, they're going to move on for it, and then they get turned over the next week. United are a really strange team. I think one day they will come good again, and they will be competing. I don't think this is the year they'll be competing.
I don't think it's the manager either.
I mean,
I don't think they compete this year, but I think United have got the great team that Man United are or were. They've got to come back, haven't they?
You'd think so. You really would think so.
Especially with the investment.
everything comes back round. Everything comes back round, and we'll talk about this more when we talk about your team. Chelsea, but they're too big a club. They've got too much money to not succeed and not eventually get it right.
Especially now with Ineos in as well.
And it's Man United. So in the past, to sign for Manchester United was a big thing. Wasn't
It's still a big thing now. They
That's
are
still got that
arguably
force, Man United.
them and Madrid are arguably the biggest clubs in the world.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. So I think United will come back at some point. I don't know if Ten Hag's the man to lead them forward still. I'm still not sure.
That's the debate, isn't it?
Yeah, and we'll probably save that for another week when we have some United boys.
We will have to get United.
Yeah, we've got a few lined up.
I mean, I might have to stay a bit quiet during that episode.
Yeah.
A little bit there.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, a result I'm obviously going to talk about as a Liverpool fan, Everton. I mean, Everton fans, get in touch with us. We said this is a community. We want to hear from you. Get in touch with us through the comments. You've got to be worried about your team. Another 2-0 lead thrown away. And, I thought Everton, we were talking, Murchy, I thought they played well.
Yeah, I thought it was a really decent start to the game yesterday.
Yeah, and, Calvert-Lewin, when he's one-on-one, put it home, you're 3-0, or 3-1 it might have been at that point, and
it would have been 3-1.
Yeah, and you are...
3-1, game's done.
That's it.
Yeah, the tide would have turned. Villa were knocking on the door. You've got a nice, easy chance. Bang, straight in. 3-1, game done.
I think it was. I was saying scoreline, but I think it was a different performance to the Bournemouth where they conceded all 3 in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That felt like they were just. I think the head went, and I think they just didn't know what to do. And whereas in this game, I think they played a lot better. I think it was more.
I thought they played well yesterday.
I think it was more Villa got their act together and
and they've got quality in there. They've got John Duran off the bench, who's got 3-3 now.
Yeah.
The key thing for them is going to be not how they do against a team like Villa, who, with the greatest respect meant to Everton, they're not competing with Villa. They're not competing with Villa at this stage. It's going to be how they do against the teams around them, and they need to pick up some points quickly.
Yeah, they've got us next week.
If they did not have any points, you would say Everton played well yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they had a few points, they'd had a few goals, they would have said they've come up against a tougher team in Villa. They played well. It's the fact they haven't got any points.
It's a massive game.
They need a draw.
Yeah.
Look,
They need a draw. They need a point.
Points are key.
Yeah.
Points are key to safety.
It'll be a massive game next week when they come to the KP. I think if we beat them, they're done. I know it's really early.
Look, if we spoke, didn't we, when we did Outside the Box, we said, who are the teams going to be in the relegation zone? You and Everton are in the relegation fight.
100%.
And whoever loses that game, it is a big
100%.
Big psychological.
Forest still in that fight, you think? I know that's what you said last week.
They're about flipping.
They're doing it right. I said last week I think they'd have a good season.
Yeah, Forest had a fantastic start. Fair play to them.
Yeah.
We'll see. Let's look. Predictions at the start of the season.
Does Pickford stay at Everton?
What, if they go down?
No, just in general.
In general?
Yeah, I think Pickford, the person I don't know the guy, but the person he seems to be, I think he's the kind of person that wouldn't leave in January. I think he'd stick the fight out, and if they get relegated, then he'd move on.
I also don't know where he'd go to. What team needs a goalkeeper at the minute? If you're talking like
arguably Chelsea. Chelsea. Well, John, we've segued.
Yeah, we'll segue again then.
Come on, boys. Let's talk about your result yesterday because watching the game, Bournemouth, obviously, they missed that penalty. And I think, to be fair to Bournemouth, we said it last week on the pod. We said Bournemouth are a team that play really well as a team. And the way that they were hitting you, and I think it was a real sucker punch, the goal that they conceded, because they've been doing so well. But on Cuckoo, he scored a very similar goal at Anfield last season, remember, where the ball came through the box.
Technically, he's a very good player.
It wasn't a little toe poke, and do you know what I mean? I liked it. I think it was a good goal. I liked it.
I think he came on with a point to prove. I don't think he's happy that he's not starting, which I can understand.
Yeah.
I think he looks at himself and thinks, I should be starting in this team, and I get that. But obviously he came on hungry and he got the goal. Him and Sancho changed the game, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Sancho changed the game coming on. So yeah.
Well, Murchy, you called it last week. You said that you thought Sancho was going to be a really good signing for Chelsea. I mean, one thing I thought he offered actually was, Sancho's not blessed with pace.
No.
But instead of trying to beat a man, and instead of trying to either then get a shot away himself or get to the byline or whatever, the goal comes from Sancho creating a little bit of space with some clever footwork.
Technically, he's very good.
Passing it into the box.
Yeah.
Sancho is a streets won't forget player. He's a moments player. Like, you're right, he's not blessed with pace, but when he's got the ball at his feet, he's as fast as anyone. He's not gonna sprint past the person, but he's the sort of person who will do some sublime bit of skill to get past the defender. I saw it happen 2 or 3 occasions, and also his passing was on point yesterday.
His passing was on point.
He's a different kind of player in Enzo's system as well. With your 2 wide men, of Pedro Neto and Madueke.
Yeah.
Very quick, technically very good, dribbling very good. He's a different player, isn't he? So it's something different to mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
And he's putting the ball in the box. I've said before, you keep knocking at the door, you keep putting the ball in the box, something will happen. And he will do that. He will continuously knock the ball in the box. And you hope that your bigger players can get on top of that. You can hold it up. I still feel we're missing a Diego Costa, a Drogba holding the ball up in a box. Now you're kind of more running in little.
They're tough to find. These days. There's not many of them around, is there? So it's tough.
That DNA of Chelsea, just keep putting the ball in. Look how many headers Drogba scored. Do you know what I mean? Just keep putting the ball in, and it will come good. I think it will come good. See, I'm biased. I'm saying here as a Chelsea fan.
But,
you know what I mean?
The thing is from yesterday, and I said this to both of you, a win is a win. And it's 3 points. And
Another 3 points.
Most of that game, I was thinking we're going to lose this at the best. At best,
we're going to draw. That's what I thought.
So honestly, it was a real. Yeah, it was. I'm dead happy that we.
Well, they talk about the Premier League, don't they? They talk about those dark, cold nights when you go to a place like the Vitality. Where the fans are on it, where the fans are up for it against a very
old-fashioned ground as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, very compact. You don't get that anymore, really, do you?
And you came through it. You came through it.
Listen, it's character building. We've got a load of young players here. We've got the youngest squad in the Premier League by far. And these games are something they're going to learn from. To get that result at the end as well, it's like the cherry on top of the cake. So yeah.
Now,
delighted.
The slight smirk on my face, Murchy, because is this the second week in a row you have absolutely smashed the food that we've got in front of us?
I've smashed it as well.
I know, mate. I know. I just, once I see something in front of me, I can't keep it.
Still got a whole lot. I'm taking it slow.
No, mate. Yeah, it's very good. It's very good.
Good. So, like I say, we'll come to the ultimate review later. But Boo Burger, seeming good so far.
Already, yeah.
Right, Chelsea fans, I want to get your thoughts on a few things from last week's pod. Okay, I know you both listened to it. I'm going to quote Murchy on this one. The circus. Chelsea, the circus.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, he's right.
Listen, we've been a circus for the last 20 years. I mean, I guess it's got even more of a circus, the last couple of years.
Coming.
But yeah, I think we've always had stuff going on in our club ever since Abramovich took over. There's never been a quiet period, but I think it's more apparent now because we don't have the success that we did under Abramovich. So now you look at it and think it's a mess over there, whereas before it was a mess, but we were winning.
Of course, yeah.
But now, obviously, without the results coming, it's looking a bit worse. But yeah, 100% agree with the comments from the pod last week,
including mine, saying Chelsea a graveyard club.
No, that's just
a club that people go to where their careers don't kick on and they don't?
I mean, I messaged you after the pod,
Yeah.
and I said I agree to an extent, specifically with big money signings.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could argue that we are a graveyard club. I can't think of the last big money signing who's come in and absolutely smashed it, especially strikers as well. You think of the money we paid on Torres and Shevchenko and Crespo. There's so many back going back where they've come in, it's not kicked on for them. And there's been Droppo and Costa in the last 20 years basically. But yeah, I think I can call out a lot of players who have come in and improved and done a good job. But yeah, I agree that there's definitely been plenty that have come in and their careers got sort of gone downhill. Yeah.
And what about Murchy's comment about Enzo sacked by Christmas?
I mean, it's always a good shout with Chelsea. That's an average as well. 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think. I mean, I've said this before, but I think the owners are serious about this guy. I think they've obviously phoned Poch out and thought this is the guy we want to put all our money behind. This is the guy who's plays the way we want to play. So you'd think that they're going to back him, whether he's the right man or not. He needs to be backed. He needs to be given time. So I mean,
but doing okay. Results still going okay.
Doing okay.
Well, it's 7 points from 12.
Yeah,
That's all right.
2
You
away
obviously
wins.
played Man City, which is probably the hardest game of the season, out of the way done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where would you say that you'd like to finish this year with Enzo still being in charge at the end of the year, obviously?
So this is painful to say, do you know what I mean? Because you should say your club's going to win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It should just be an automatic response. The club's going to win. We're going to challenge.
Yeah.
I think I would be happy with fifth.
Okay.
I'd be happy with fifth.
Yeah.
It's progress.
Yeah, 100%.
Getting in the Europa League.
Yeah.
I want to play in the Europa League. I want to have a good cup run in the Europa League, potentially win it. And
What about the
keep
Conference
building
League this
momentum.
season? Would you want to take that seriously and win it?
100%.
It's a trophy,
It's a
innit?
trophy.
Yeah.
And I've come from many years of seeing Chelsea not win trophies.
You can't
We've
take
only
it for
got
granted.
two. You can't take it for granted. We've got 2 Champions League trophies, but it's a trophy.
Yeah,
Do you know
of
what I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's still
completes the set
full
as well,
ahead.
right? It
It
completes the
completes
set.
the set.
Would you be the only club to have that full set?
Absolutely.
You would, and you would argue that
You're the
Real
first
Madrid,
club to do it. Yeah, that's a really great shout.
you'd argue Real Madrid don't say we want to continue. Do you know what I
They
mean?
had the chance and
Hey, they've not done the set.
They've not done it.
The set.
They've not done it. Yeah.
You know, Florentino Perez might be looking at that trophy thinking,
We're going to finish 7th this season, lads. Yeah.
Honestly speaking, I think Conference League it's not our level. We're probably a bit above that level, but I think it's a good grounding for a lot of the
To
young.
build momentum.
Yeah, I think.
To get to used to winning,
Yeah.
to get to used to playing different competitions
Yeah.
and travelling,
Yeah.
and then build momentum into
Yeah.
Europa.
I think you're right.
then
Europa
build
League
Yeah.
is probably our
And I
level.
think it's probably
Yeah.
it's probably good to have around with Enzo as well. Still getting to know his team.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
you've got a lot.
And you're
you've
not
got a lot
up
of
against
players.
Bayerns and Reds.
Yeah. So it's good for him maybe to know his system and know what players he needs to use in his system.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you could argue we've got the depth.
you've got the depth of about
We've got
5
the
teams,
depth.
I think.
You know what I mean, to play the
Yeah.
Probably
competition.
argue that.
But no, I want to see them do well. I don't rubbish the trophy. It's a
Absolutely.
trophy. It's a
Yeah.
competition.
I really
it's
enjoyed when we
European
were in the
football.
Conference League a few years ago.
Yeah,
And the teams that were in it then are slightly different to it now. But
But could you argue that's Leicester? And look, here's a controversial statement: potentially a feeder club to Chelsea, given the amount of players that you've given to him. There's different levels, but I think from where you guys are at the moment, I think a lot of people obviously laughed when you were in the Conference League. It was that whole look how the mighty have fallen against Chelsea. But actually, given the season you had last season,
And it was only United beating City that put us there.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
given the fact that
think-
given the fact that at one point you were 10th,
Yeah.
you know, things
yeah,
are
I think
looking poor, wasn't it? Yeah.
The only reason you'd say, oh, surely it should be doing better than that is the money that we spent. I get it. We spent £1 billion or
That's
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you,
Oh, don't get me wrong,
Automatically-
we are coming to the money. Don't get me
so
wrong.
automatically you think we should be doing better, but I think you've got to be realistic. Like we won the Champions League 3 years ago, and we've got 1, maybe 2. I think James and Chilwell are the only guys left from that
Yeah,
team.
I think it's.
So we've had a complete squad overhaul.
Yeah.
We've got a new manager playing a completely different style of play. All our players are young. We've got by far the youngest team in the Premier League. I think we've got to be realistic that these guys, as much as you spend money on them, are not going to come in and start ripping it up and being in the Champions League and beating all these big teams. I think we've got to be realistic. It's a process. And I know we've heard that word it so many times, and it's boring.
Trust the
but
process.
It is a process,
Yeah.
and we've got to back it and support
Trust
it,
the process.
and hope that it comes good in a few years' time.
Of course.
Yeah. So.
Do you know what, it's interesting actually because you've again segued beautifully to what we're doing next. Now we've had this conversation a few times where we've said that you guys have brought potential, and potential doesn't always mean that it's going to come through. But I think it's time for our first proper segment.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this one? For those that watched the podcast last week, will know this one. It's Murchy's Marks. Well, hopefully it's going to be a nice little graphic that'll appear somewhere.
I might just leave you like that, mate.
I know, let's go for that one.
But...
Right, so I've got Murchy's Marks in here. And what Murchy's done is he's taken all the Chelsea signings this summer and he's graded them in our usual categories. So we've got absolute class, promising, I gave him on the fence,
This is raw.
disappointing, and pile of...
Yeah.
Do you know what? There's none in pile of.
So Everton, you're still there on your own.
The only thing.
Deservedly on your own there.
Right, so out of all the signings that you've made, Murchy put 2 in absolute class.
Okay.
Pedro Neto, and am I saying this right? Estavio.
Estavio, yes. From the looks of what I've seen online and what people are saying about him and what...
Just Estavio William guy.
Pretty much William Regen.
Yeah.
People are saying he's the next Neymar. Really, loads of clubs were after him. So I think the fact that Chelsea have gone and actually got him, obviously he's gone back on loan to Brazil for the year, but I think he could be the next big thing for Chelsea.
That's what they're saying in Brazil, from what I've heard as
well.
They're rating him up there with Neymar. You always get these windicates from Brazil.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, he's got.
There's comparisons with Hendrick, so if you're comparing them play, you'd take Hendrick all day. So
we went in for Hendrick as well.
Yeah. So I think he will turn out to be a brilliant signing. The same with Pedro Neto as well. I think if he stays fit, I've rated him for the last few years at Wolves now.
Quality player.
Brilliant.
I think that's why he doesn't play 90 minutes. Though.
Yeah,
that's why
he's still got exactly. He was out a lot last season, but I think there was a run where he had 9 or 10 games for Wolves, and he either score an assistant in each game.
Wolves had to play.
Yeah, like brilliant player, and I think he starts for Chelsea all day.
Oh, I don't know. No. It's Sancho now, you know. Neto came off at half time.
Did Sancho start? Did Sancho start next game?
Well, it's the depth you've got now, though, isn't it? It's the different kind of games. Yeah, I think it depends on who you play, in my opinion. I think Pedro, Neto, and Sancho, completely different players. I think if you need someone to break the lines, then you've got the players for it, and if you need someone with raw pace and directness, you've got that.
If you're playing a Arsenal, Liverpool, City, these kind of players, you don't do Sancho because Sancho's not got necessarily the pace to get beyond, etc. You might not have as much the ball, but you've got Neto, that sharp burst of pace. I mean, I remember seeing Wolves at Anfield and Neto terrorised down the wing, unbelievable.
If you're talking raw pace, so we're forgetting about Mudryk. Remember him?
You say he has in pace,
Mudryk for me is
I'm surprised he's not down.
Arsenal must be laughing their heads off.
He wasn't this season. He wasn't this season. We could have a whole podcast on Mudryk.
Sorry, I don't want
But no, I mean, I remember his debut against Liverpool looked good. When he came
looked good,
yeah. Good.
He is rapid as well.
It's the final ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
He picks the ball up well, he runs with the ball well. It's the decision in the last minute.
I think he needs a good long loan somewhere for a couple of years to get the grounding.
I'd say.
But it depends how much money you can get.
How much did you pay for him?
Not
70,
no, it wasn't that much. It was more 50 with a load of add-ons, performance-related add-ons, which is never going to
No chance.
So
Arsenal must be laughing their heads off. Thinking
they signed Trossard for what was it, 90
I love Trossard. I think he's brilliant. Really like Trossard.
It's an average player. I don't think it's.
Ooh.
Trossard is not an average.
That one.
Not an average.
That one.
He's a backup player. He's not a starting player.
I really like Leandro Trossard. I think he's better than Martinelli for me.
Well, do you know what? In terms of potential, I would say no, because Martinelli, I think he's dropped off a little bit recently.
Yeah.
But I know Klopp always used to talk about him before we played Arsenal. Because he's got everything in his locker. He's going through a bit of a confidence drop at the moment. But what's brilliant about Arsenal, and it's a Chelsea podcast, but it's about Arsenal. Sterling,
I think
Trossard,
Sterling's a massive one.
Sterling, Trossard, Martinelli, Saka. the depth you've got there.
Yeah.
The depth you've got there. That's fantastic.
Sterling for Arsenal was a great signing.
Fantastic.
100%. Yeah, I
Arsenal
100%
And
agree.
again, see what Arsenal fans say.
Yeah.
I think it's a great signing.
I agree. And they're paying what, 100k a week for it?
Yeah, we're paying 200k
Yeah,
a week.
yeah,
for it.
Crazy, that is crazy.
But do you agree with Murchy's marks with those two, Neto and Stavio?
Yeah, I think Neto, I agree with. Stavio's obviously a finger in the air. We don't know.
Yeah.
But
It could turn out to be.
talent-wise,
It may never come in.
Yeah, he might never play for Chelsea.
He might never play, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Neto, loads of potential. Has he done anything glistery that makes me sit back in the? Has he done a Hazard move? Has he
You
done?
can't compare him.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's not come in and set it.
Yeah, of course.
He's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
come in and gone,
the
this
assist
is
and
my
Yeah,
game.
as an outsider, I've looked in and thought, I tell you what, that's
But
a cracking
I
sign.
think when because
On
it was
paper,
so
On paper.
quiet how you did it as well. So
Came out of
quiet.
nowhere.
Came out of absolutely
Yeah,
nowhere.
it did. Yeah.
And then the fact that I don't know anybody that's looked at that signing and gone, I'm sure about that. Everyone said injuries.
Yeah.
But in terms of raw
He's
ability,
still
in
young
terms
as
of
well, innit?
quality,
Yeah.
I'd
How
go
old
with
is
that.
I think he's mid-20s.
24?
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, he's not old by any means, so he's still got his prime to hit. And hopefully he can stay injury-free.
You say he's injury free, and he's got to establish. This is what all Chelsea players have got to do now: is they've got to establish their thing. And this was one of the things around. Well, you're buying so many players. It's because you're throwing so much money. Your agent saying, you've got 7 years of this money go to Chelsea. But for me, if you want to be a world-class player, you go and fight for your spot at Chelsea.
Of course, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You look at that team and go, okay, they've got this depth, but I'm going to be the man.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in and take this spot. I'm going to be a starter for Chelsea.
Yeah.
And you hope that they've got that mentality. So, yes, we've got to be careful of Neto. We don't want to injure him. But he's got to come in with that, this is my spot.
Yeah.
I'm not here to play with Sancho. This is my spot.
Yeah.
And Sancho's got to
make
say, this is my spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The injury is a big thing. Is a big thing as well. I mean, Chelsea aren't the team to go to if you don't want to get injured. We are injured. Our history of injuries is awful. Last season was absolutely terrible. I've heard they've replaced the whole
backroom staff. Because there was a thing around Lukaku being overweight, wasn't there, and not betraying. Do you know what I mean? Again, how much do you read into it? How much you know? But yeah, they have changed that backroom staff.
Apart from the right backs, apparently they're just always injured.
Yeah,
Gusto,
that's just Reece James. I think
Gusto,
he has that effect. He's got that aura, innit? That injury aura.
Yeah. How long's Gusto out?
I think it's one of those where
it's not long though, is it?
No.
I like Malo Gusto.
I like Gusto. And this go. No, we don't want to risk him. I'll save it later.
All right.
I'll save it for later.
All right. So, obviously, we'll get the graphic.
The graphic will be up somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, last time we did the beautiful graphic.
If you want to do it again, mate, it's good.
Well, do you know if you boys want to do something where the graphic appears?
Yeah.
No.
Fair enough.
So did you not put any Chelsea signings this year as terrible?
We'll come to some disappointing.
Okay,
right, so for promising, again, forgive pronunciation, the striker he signed from Barcelona, what's Gui, that's the one.
Only 5 million.
Sancho and Tosin.
Yeah. What are they? Sorry, what rating are we giving?
Promising.
Yeah,
signings.
promising.
Yeah, because he's, how old is he? 18?
Who's that? Is it Gui? Is it?
Gui,
Very young.
Come through the
Very
bar.
raw.
Very raw.
But it's not your
Barcelona
typical
really
Barcelona.
rated him.
It's not a silky.
No, he's a big lad. Isn't
Big lad.
He's a big lad.
Can he hold the ball up? Can he
Yeah,
knock back
big
the
lad.
arm
I mean, he
after
played a few
it?
games in pre-season. He looks okay, but I think he needs a good year or two.
Yeah, he's very young, innit?
Yeah,
He's very young.
It's hard to
Yeah.
tell someone.
You didn't spend much on him, and it's the same with the Tosin one. I think
Free.
because you got him for free.
Great transfer,
I
yeah.
think there's nothing wrong with that. Proven Premier League centre half.
Again, he came
He's
on
still
yesterday.
young as well.
Again, another
Yeah.
player came on yesterday and he showed up our defence.
Yeah.
As soon as he came on for Disassi, we looked a lot calmer.
Yeah.
Disassi is just a
Yeah.
nightmare anyway. Yeah, he brought a lot of calm.
We didn't think about this. We should have done Chelsea signings last summer, not this one, because there's a few in there.
Would be. It would have to do a long podcast for that.
You sat on the fence a lot, Murchy, with a few.
Yeah, there was a few I don't really know about. So I was
You
like,
had Jorgensen, the goalkeeper.
yeah,
Penders, Wiley, Kellyman. The one that I suppose probably found out more about him last night was Vega.
yeah.
In the fact that you put him on the fence.
The only reason I put him on the fence, I don't know much about him. The league, did he come from the Swiss league? Was it?
Yeah, Swiss league.
Was it Basel? He was at.
I think.
Yeah, I've not watched much.
Another one that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what he is. He played kind of like a holding.
I've only seen him come on at left back.
Yeah,
and then he was playing in midfield.
I think that's what he is.
yesterday.
I think that's what he is, like a Cucurella type player.
Yeah,
who
cool,
play at left
yeah.
back and then comes into mid.
Yeah.
But again, very raw.
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you more about him. Obviously, as Chelsea fans, you might have seen him more now.
I've seen him.
No.
Yeah. That's why I'm on the fence with him. Yeah.
He seems calm in possession.
Cool.
But yeah, it remains to be seen. It's hard coming from the Swiss League, isn't it? You never know how it's going to work out.
But let's face it, people haven't joined the podcast to listen to the On the Fence. They want the controversial ones, which is where you've put the disappointing.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to lie, Murchy. As a Leicester fan, I think you have thrown this first one in there with your Leicester bias.
Hall in there.
Dewsbury Hall as disappointing.
Yeah, and my reasoning behind that is he doesn't get in Chelsea's team.
His career, right?
His career's done,
Is it Danny Drinkwater?
I think we end up getting him back on loan in January, if I'm honest with you.
Do you not think he plays in the Conference League?
He should play in the Conference League.
I think
he should play in the Conference League. But I just think for Enzo to come out and he loved KDH at Leicester. He paid the money for him. Obviously, we had to sell as a club for PSR, which we.
How much did we pay? 30 million.
30 million, 30 million. We had to sell him, so obviously got him for a snip. But for me, I just think if he's not going to play, it's just really it's a pointless signing.
I didn't get it. I understand from the perspective of
you're stacked in midfield as well.
Yeah, I understand the perspective of it's someone who's used to Maresca's system.
Yeah.
Fine. But all the players that we had already, like your Andre Santos's, your Castades, Chukwuemeka's, players who can. Chukwuemeka played brilliantly. He got some injuries, but he played brilliantly. To me, he's a better player than Dewsbury Hall.
Obviously Enzo. I say Enzo's a World Cup winner.
Yeah.
Like
I don't see the need for him. And you think that 30 million, what we could have maybe stretched for an Osman or something.
Yeah, exactly what I said last week. Yeah. It's for, as a Leicester fan looking in. Obviously, I love KDH. Massive reason we went up last year.
Yeah, we might sell him back to you for 40. Yeah.
I can really see us getting him on loan in January. I hope we do. It'd be brilliant if we do. But it's just disappointing seeing him go with Enzo, and Enzo just not even. He was fit last night. He wasn't even on the bench, was he?
He was on the bench.
Well, he's played a few games and he's not impressed.
Has he not?
No.
That's disappointing.
The thing is, you hit the nail on the head where you said he can sign it to play in the conference. Now, look, you guys said this straight away. You said conference is where you're at now, but it's not where you want to be. So if he's a player,
young, he could still develop. You'd hope he would get better working with better players as well than when he was at Leicester. He might raise his level. I can understand how they thought it might go, but again, I don't think there is the requirement.
It goes back to that thing of, does he go in and think I'm challenging for a spot? Or does he just think I'm a backup player?
I don't know, is he a confident lad?
So if he goes in with confidence and I can do, and there's pressure, isn't there? You go out on a Chelsea pitch, you're being bought. He's coming in with pressure on his shoulders.
He's not playing at the moment. Come on the pod and tell us.
Kiernan, if you fancy it, mate.
Come on, mate.
I know you're still in Leicester somewhere.
The one I think that's going to cause them, because in fairness, they've agreed with you. They've agreed so far. This one, I think, is
this one will cause some.
Felix. You said Felix is disappointing.
Yeah.
For who?
For Chelsea. I think wasting money on him. I think it's a waste.
Money?
How much is it in terms of numbers? Him coming back.
45?
Was it
Something.
Did he set the world on fire with his spell a few years back?
He had moments.
Yeah.
Obviously a different manager. Again, I think it's a brilliant player. So technical, so skillful.
There's something in there.
So gifted. There's something in there. It's not a huge amount of money in terms of the money that's being thrown around now. And I think he could work well in the system, working in if we decide to play a false nine, I think he works well there. I think it could work out. I think disappointing is harsh.
Okay.
I think I'll probably have him in the middle ground somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, personally. I'm not angry about it.
I agree with you. It's a kind of middle of the road. He's a good player for now. Is that the kind of player that I want? Did he set up things that like Atletico? No. Was he a like?
Been like that at most clubs. At Barcelona, obviously didn't do much. Atletico, he's not done much. And he moved for a lot of money back in the day a few years ago. Yeah, there was really big things about him. Doesn't start for Portugal.
But this is what we're talking about with promise. Because when he first burst on the scene, promising player, and he was the one that people wanted. Just never quite.
I think
quite got
it might be a bit lightweight for the Premier League as well.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Like there's no undenying his technical abilities is out of this world, but I just think there's a reason he's not set it alight at Barcelona.
You just hope that it clicks.
But I want people to fight. This is the thing. I want Chelsea players to fight. I remember, I can't remember what game. You remember when John Terry slid across the floor and scored, stopped the goal with his face.
Yeah.
That heart and that passion.
Yeah, I'm not going to see that from Felix.
But he took the wage cut to come to us.
That's true.
That's fair.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
More that can be said
in
about
his mind,
yeah.
he's gone, right, I want to play. I'm not starting. I'm not in the Portugal. Do you know what I mean? I want to be in the Portugal national side. I want to start. I want to play. I'm going to go to Chelsea, take a pay cut, and fight for that place. And scored on his debut. When we had last time, he got a red card. On his debut, you know what I mean?
Against Wolves, it was a really good goal. Actually, really well
very
worked.
well finished.
Yeah,
can he come in and fight? The problem for me as a Chelsea fan is I want that in and fight, but we are, and it's painful because you defend your team, but we've got too many players. And there has to be a
100%.
cull and there has to be a cut.
Yeah.
At the minute, Felix is in the cut for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where he's got, but can he come in? Can he fight? Can he show passion?
It could go one or two ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can other players develop from him in training? There's a lot of questions.
Yeah,
marks.
He could flop, or he could come out and
So I'd agree with that one. Middle of the
I mean, I tell you what, Murchy. So far,
done better than last week.
you've done a lot better than last week. There was a lot of question
We're
marks.
not
back
questions
in
with our
this box.
players because we've got so many.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I think that'll be a successful one. But we want to hear from you guys. There's more Chelsea fans out there. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Our guests have said, agreed with Murchy's marks. But let us know what you think.
And agree with it. So I've said to you before when we were at football watching my lad play, there's too many little signings here or there. For me, what I wanted, when you asked me who do you want, I wanted a new goalkeeper. Even though Sanchez, brilliant last night. But I wanted a new goalkeeper and I wanted a new striker. So instead of spending 30 million there, 40 million there, 45 million there,
just go out and pay the money.
Could we have gone out and bought an 80, 90 million pound
three or four, and maybe a couple of backups?
That makes sense. I think that's what you guys are missing.
But Edison was talked about from Man City. Do you know what I mean?
I thought that would happen.
The backup keeper, Real Madrid's backup keeper.
Yeah, Lunin. The Ukrainian lad.
Good Champions League.
Yeah, it was really good last year. Yeah.
Could we have gone in and spent a big bit of money and gone, well, we're not going to spend the money here, and here. And that then goes into how is Chelsea Club being run? Is it we're buying players to challenge for titles? Is it we're buying young players to promise? Is it we're buying players as a business?
Yeah.
To then
or is Todd Bowley playing Football Manager?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when we were linked to Cristiano Ronaldo up front.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, that would have been Ronaldo's Ronaldo, isn't he? He's him and Messi are arguably the greatest footballers of our generation. But that would have brought, for me, Ronaldo up front would have brought more Twitter followers, higher price of tickets, bigger stadium, a business,
people
Hollywood.
Following the player more than the club.
It's the glamour, isn't it?
Hollywood,
And
that's what I don't want as a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, of course.
And what I don't think it's the same situation as Man United with the Glazers. Do you know what I mean? But I think he wants this glitz and this glamour.
Yeah.
And I don't want that as a Chelsea fan. I wanted passion, strength, a striker. Thomas Tuchel said, I want to build a team that no one wants to play against. And I don't feel we've got that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's what you said, potential of players coming on and stuff. But I would have liked a big man up front, a proven goal stopper in defence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When the ball goes through, it's all good. I'll keep it. You must have that. When the ball goes through, do you know what I mean? It's all right. Hudson's going to get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's going to get it. Where I kind of go, do you know what I mean?
There's uncertainty about Sanchez. You don't know whether he's going to pull off a great save or whether it's going to.
He pulls off so many great saves.
Very athletic, isn't it?
It's great.
Great.
His distribution is great 75% of the time, but it's that 25%. Especially combined with the way that we play, I think we're going to see a lot of mishaps this season.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later on.
Because the other guy's gone out on loan, hasn't he?
Petrovic.
He played last season.
Played last season.
Petrovic was fine last season.
I think he did well. He actually beat Sanchez to the number one spot.
His distribution was class not to be good enough. So,
well, do you know what? Because you've linked nicely to what I wanted to talk about next, where you talked about the ownership, you talked about the structure. Let's go back. let's go right back because look, Chelsea Football Club are the club they are now because Roman Abramovich came in. Now, I remember that really clearly as a fan. And, you know, Chelsea had just beaten us on the last day of the season. Jesper Gronke, our goal, to secure Champions League football. Now, I believe, from what you hear, that Roman was interested in two clubs, Newcastle and Chelsea. And Chelsea had the London pull, obviously, but then they just secured Champions League football. And Roman comes in. And, you know, this is, it was what, 2003, I think it was. And, you know, I remember newspapers being full that summer of the signings that came in. And I think, you know, you look back and, okay, some of them weren't maybe names that we'd associate now as top players, but they were exciting players. Jeremy came in. You know, Glenn Johnson came in. Joe Cole, Sebastian Veron, Damien Duff, Mutu, all these
big players,
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what was that like for the two of you as Chelsea fans? Because I know as a Liverpool fan, I didn't like it.
You know exactly how I felt about it.
But well, let's hear what people say. Like, you know, I think that for me, I didn't like it. You know, and ruining football. You know, going out spending money. But at the same time,
Liverpool fans always say, no, spending too much money.
But it was interesting that you said about Football Manager because, you know, think about it. Most of us grew up playing, whether it's FIFA or Football Manager, and that's what we do. We'd go and sign the big players and get them in. And all of a sudden, this club was doing it in real life.
And it was unheard of at the time.
What was that Roman era? What was that Roman era like when he first came in?
It was like being like a child in a sweet shop, wasn't it? It was like just couldn't wait to wake up and check on on CFAX, I guess it was. See who was coming in this time. Yeah, it was great times, man. Like, I mean, we're still signing players now, but because it's happened so often, you kind of don't get too excited about it. But then, because it was so new, every player coming in, it was like, wow, I can't believe we signed Ron, can't believe we signed Muta, can't believe we signed Joe Cole. Yeah, it was just, it just felt like we were like the luckiest fans in the world.
It was that excitement.
But it was important as well, because from what I know, our club was in trouble before that. We really needed a buy.
Bankruptcy, wasn't it?
There was real peril there. We might have ceased to exist as a club. There was an actual transfer happening. So not only was there relief that wasn't going to happen, now it's thinking, wow, we can actually set our sights on challenging for the title.
Yeah. And that's why, because of that movement, is why I support Chelsea Football Club. So my family are big Everton fans. So my first primary school was Everton. I then you're going to hate this. I then flirted. My uncle was a big Man United fan. Okay. And it's like, the cool uncle. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So then I had a few Man United shirts. And then I started looking at Chelsea, so 97. So I would have been around 12, 13. And then it was this exciting football club. Playing this exciting football, watching Match of the Day, staying up, can I watch Match of the Day, and seeing this Chelsea team,
the FA Cup final,
do these things, do these things, and it was like, wow, who is this team? And then going back in the school playground, everybody was Liverpool and Man United fans, so it was the sea of red. And then I was in this blue shirt, and I was different, and that was the pull of Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? So I've not got this. I was born in London, but the style of football, the players they were bringing,
there's a story behind it, and it's just
Chelsea kind of pulled me in. Do you know what I mean? And everyone has a different reason of why they support a football club, but it was that pull of this amazing club doing these amazing things.
It's interesting your year drop because obviously, you know, Chelsea before Roman came in, you had Hasselbank and Johnson as the strikers doing very, very well. You know, Gronke I mentioned on the right. You had Melchior. Desai, you know, Kudachini was in goal. There was a very good team that was built
good
there.
Players there.
But then it went to another level, and obviously Roman came in, and the first year under Ranieri, Champions League semi-final, second in the league,
and being able to watch Champions League because it used to be on ITV4.
Yeah, it was free.
So it was again, you're watching this team play these clubs. Who the hell is Real Madrid? Who the hell is? You know what I mean? It's like, wow.
But we know what came next after 2004. Okay, because after Ranieri didn't win the Champions League or didn't win the league, Jose comes in. Jose comes in, and that team, I think most people could name it. Where you've got Cech, Ferreira, Terry, Carvalho, Ashley Cole, Makelele, Lampard, Cole, Robin, you know, Drogba, all these players, you know. Talk me through the Jose eras at Chelsea and what that was like for you.
Oh, and it was cool back then, wasn't it? When he had the like long
Oh, even now, I still love. I love
the
Jose.
press conference when he was saying
Yeah.
special,
Yeah.
arrogance.
I love Mourinho. Even to this day, I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's probably one of the greatest managers of all time.
Oh, he's got to
And
go
to have him
down.
at the
He's got to
start
go
of his
down.
after the Porto Champions League win, it
This
must
is
have been so exciting.
Peak
Yeah.
Mourinho.
Yeah. And you could argue the Mourinho people who aren't Mourinho fans would probably say Park's the boss, defensive manager.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
know what I
come
mean?
more.
Well, it was
In the
Chelsea.
last
Chelsea
10
win.
years.
It was Chelsea win 1-0.
It
It was.
the complete opposite of where we are now, where it's heart attack every minute. Every time they do
Yeah,
someone's going to make a mistake,
Yeah.
Santos going to mess up, someone's going to do something wrong. You were so calm watching us play with those players. You had never had any doubts that
And
we were
arrogance as a fan. Oh, you're playing Arsenal. Yeah, that's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
play, oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
we didn't
You know what I
smack
mean?
teams, but we were just.
So we weren't nervous about playing.
Yeah.
But you dominated teams. You know, look, that ghost goal Champions League semi-final. Watching that 120 minutes was horrendous because it was Chelsea, wave.
They were a machine.
It was,
That's what we've got to get back to.
and it was. You will never beat Petr Cech. It was Petr Cech. You're 1-on-1, and now you were speaking about it. You think when Harry Kane goes 1-on-1, you think most likely going to be a goal. You know, when Haaland goes in, you think goal.
You know what's
Yeah.
happening, yeah.
But
When he picked the ball up yesterday, it's a
Petr Cech.
Yeah.
You did not think that. It didn't matter who it was. Bear in mind, you had Henry around that time. You had Van Nistelrooy. You had Rooney. You had all these players.
Yeah, some
And-
top strikers around at that point.
I mean, for me, it's the greatest achievement in Premier League history to go through a season conceding only 10 goals. We lost one game.
Better than the
conceded 10
Invincibles.
goals. In my opinion,
too many
way
draws
better
and
than
the Invincibles. Again,
There's-
Arsenal fans
there's
are going to.
there's the
Yeah,
clip.
I know
There's
it's
the
a big
clip.
debate.
There's the
Too
clip.
many
you
draws.
can throw the treble winners, you can throw Man City squad. I get
Yeah.
it, but to me, yeah.
Okay, so wonderful era for you guys as Chelsea fans.
Yeah.
You had 2 league titles under Jose,
Mhm.
and then he gets sacked.
Yeah.
And then for me, Chelsea disappointed. Now look, I know you could say you won 2 Champions Leagues, not to be scoffed at in the slightest.
No.
But you had at that point more money than if City weren't around at that point.
Yeah.
You then started, and you alluded to this at the beginning when you said about Maresca. You started sacking managers left, right, centre. Ancelotti won the double his first season, came second next season, and was gone.
Crazy.
Great manager as well.
And actually,
Great manager, yeah.
you never built a dynasty. You look at what Pep is doing now. You look at, and look, I know people will criticise saying that Klopp only won a Champions League and a Premier League, but we had him for 9 years. Look at where we were when we started off. And we're the only team to have breached City's dominance.
Mhm.
Why did Chelsea never, under Roman, dominate for a long period of time?
I think Roman's got bored. I think that's what it was. I think he achieved success. We got the success, and I think he's obviously is a billionaire. He's going to have an ego, right? And Mourinho's got an ego as well. So I can imagine there
there was a bit of
some
flash.
flashes
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and you can imagine Mourinho's the sort of person who's not going to stand for that. And
Yeah.
I get it. It will happen, and I think. Listen, I wouldn't take it back. I'm happy with the way everything went. I think we got to see some great managers, great different styles of play. Yeah, it'd be great having Mourinho for 10 years, win loads of stuff, but then we might not have seen Ancelotti's style of play, Conte's style of play. So I look at it from that point of view, and I see we could have probably won more titles, but we had a great time. We got to see loads of different great players, different managers
You
playing
got to see
different styles.
Di Matteo win the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly.
That's-
exactly.
That's a
It's
massive
the ride.
thing,
There's
isn't
been
it?
so many moments that I won't take it back for anything.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But would you have won more?
Yeah.
And this is it, because
Probably.
you know,
Probably.
we were talking about the growth of Chelsea. Are Chelsea in this situation they're in because you spent about culture, because that culture. And look, there's a winning mentality. Of course there is. Of course there is.
There's an
There's a winning mentality.
expectation to win.
And I think you cannot ever be happy. And look, Arsenal's demise after Wenger was because top 4 was the requirement, and you know what was they're the levels. As a Liverpool fan, I always got criticised for it's our year. It's going to be our year. It's our year. It's our year, because that was the expectation that's what you need to get to.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think we're going to win the league this year. I would be happy with top 4 again this year, but I want to see progress.
Yeah.
I want to see us get into that. as Chelsea fans, you guys suddenly, after this time of dominance, and I listened to a podcast recently where Gary Neville was saying that he was questioning whether he'd win a title again when you first came onto the scene.
Yeah.
Because, Chelsea were so dominant and the players you had, but then there never seemed to be this strategy, and you ended up having a system where you had one manager like a Villas-Boas and his players that he brought in, and then Hiddink players that he brought in, and then all of a sudden you had a mess. And are you suffering for that now?
Well, firstly, at the time as a fan, I never felt like, no, I wish we kept Mourinho. No. I just still felt grateful that we had him in the first place. Remember, it wasn't that long ago where we weren't winning anything. Like literally 2 years previously, we didn't have Abramovich, we didn't have these dreams of winning anything. So we were just grateful that happened for 2 years in a row. And okay, that journey's over. Let's start a new one. Okay, yeah. But I look back at the stats, and over the 15, 20 years that Abramovich was our owner, we finished in the top 4, 80% of the time. There was a couple of drops.
It was the expectation.
Once we went down to 6,
once
we went down to 10. But in general, only until the last couple of years it went a bit wrong. But in general, our standards were high, and we, as much as we had more money, Man United was still a thing. Alex Ferguson was still a manager. Arsenal had money. Liverpool was still there. Like we had no right to say we're going to win every single league. Like it's tough. It's the Premier League.
It's the Premier League, and you're exactly right. Yeah, there's no we're going to be City. So kids now with Man City, will there be? We're going to win the league. We're going to win the Champions League.
But it's funny enough. You look back and say, but Chelsea are hiring and firing, but it worked for them. That's what people say. Oh yeah, we never took a manager, but it worked for them. At the end of the day, we had a history. There was never a year or two, a season or two without winning something. It might not have been a league. But we won 4 cups. We won 3 league cups. We won 2 Europa Leagues. We won 2 Premier Leagues. Champions Leagues. There was always success throughout. It wasn't always Premier Leagues, but there was always something for us to celebrate. So we were happy as fans, I think.
I totally agree with you, Dom.
Yeah.
Happy as fans, and winning cups is
it doesn't have to be Premier League. It's just
winning cups. Premier League's a tough league. It's a really hard league.
It's only got harder.
City are making it look easy now.
But that's why we like football.
And I think that bar City being at the top, there's now, you would say, a good 6-7 teams after that now who can compete for top 4.
Predicting top 4 is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, and that's what makes it exciting. Watching those duels, watching those chess matches. Do you know what I mean? That's what makes it. Seeing it. I remember as a kid though, you'd see something and then you go out on the playground and try and recreate it. Do you know what I mean? And so seeing that and seeing these players come in and do these things, but it's that thing of Chelsea is who we are, isn't it? We support Chelsea and we're going to back them, and you'll back Liverpool, you'll back Leicester. Do you know what I mean? You want them to do well, but you can't win everything all the time.
We look back on these man like Villas-Boas, we laugh at him now, but at the time he was like the next Mourinho. Like,
a lot of clubs were looking for him,
and it didn't work out. We've had some great managers apart from Benitez.
Well, he won Europa League.
Agent
Rafa.
Agent Rafa.
We won it despite Benitez.
Rafa's right. Your fans are. Anyway, right. So we'll move forward. Right. So let's fast forward again. Let's fast forward to the here and now. Now look, we're not getting into politics of Roman moving on, but Roman moved on. Tom Bowley comes in. They've got the Clear Lake back in as well. Now, you guys started to touch on this when you were talking about the transfers. Selling academy players and then buying players, knowing that they might not play for you, might not have that impact, but you'll sell them on for more money. Yeah. Chelsea, for me, from the outside coming in, look like a business, and they look like they're not necessarily to win.
Earlier saying you can buy them back for 10 million.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's what
And how do you guys feel about this new Chelsea ownership?
Well, we're owned by a consortium who are their existence is to make money. Okay, they are a business first and foremost. The hope is that our what we want to do, how we want to win, is in line. Like us winning and winning trophies and winning prize money and getting into the Champions League will contribute to it being a profit-making business. So it's supposed to work in alignment together. But at the moment, obviously, it's not looking like we're going to get in the Champions League. Maybe we will this season. But at the moment, it's looking, we have to find our money, make money in different ways.
Yeah.
And obviously, because of PSR, our hands are tied to a certain extent. We haven't got a massive stadium bringing in loads of money. We haven't got Champions League. So we have to make our money somehow in order to stay within PSR.
Yeah.
And our one of our biggest assets is Cobham and our training ground. And unfortunately, you have to do what you got to do. It's not just us; it's other clubs as well having to sell some of their best academy products to keep within the PSR rules.
But I think, look, I understood what you were saying. I was also thinking, if I was watching this pod, I would be getting my little violin out and going, "Oh, poor Chelsea! Oh, poor Chelsea! They spend all these billions of pounds, and then they're talking about PSR, and then they sell it." Look, I think, the difference between you and the other clubs is exactly what you guys said, and we said we'd talk about this and put it on the table now. The money, the fact that, and Michael, you mentioned this. You said you don't want to spend 30 million here, 40 million here, but you have.
Yeah. And we've had, like Dom said, we have to. It's become a business.
All these 30 and 40 millions just add up.
Exactly. And what is it?
And that's the issue.
In the last 2 years, over £1 billion spent.
That's a lot of money.
And as a result, you're having someone like a Conor Gallagher, who, look, whether you like Conor Gallagher, whether you don't like Conor Gallagher, who made it very clear, who said, my heartbeat is Chelsea, I love this club, and he was pushed.
He was forced out, really, wasn't it?
It didn't suit anyone. I mean, we literally only did it for the money because he actually would fit in perfectly with our style of play.
Enzo's system. He's an Enzo player.
Yeah, he's our second best player.
How Wilfred Ndidi was for us last season, he would have fit that role perfectly.
Yeah.
So it's a really strange one to see him get pushed out like that.
But a Chalobah. Trevor Chalobah as well.
Yeah.
One of our best defenders towards the end of the season. He was solid for us. Yeah.
But that's an issue with the PS. Violin again. But are we getting forced to sell academy players?
Well, we are.
But
we're not helping ourselves by spending 20 million on David Washington, 11 million on this guy, 40 million on this guy, who we know probably aren't going to be good enough to get into Chelsea.
It goes back to some of them players who I put in on the fence. There's 4 or 5 in there who I'm like, who the hell are they?
As a Chelsea fan, if you pull up
you've signed some.
No idea.
I think it was. I was doing some research the other day on some of them because I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
And Penders, for example, I think you spent 30 million on him.
It's a new Courtois.
Yeah, 18-year-old goalkeeper for now. 30 million. You think, oh, that's a lot of money. Just spend on an 18-year-old who we then got sent back. There's an American lad in there you spent 15 million on. Never heard of him. A really young lad sent back to America. All this money adds up.
It does.
And this is why I don't think anybody will be saying, "Oh, my heart bleeds for Chelsea with PSR," because it seems like this is a making of your own doing, and the fact that you're going out, you're spending this money.
But that PSR isn't as a Chelsea fan; it's as a football fan.
I think anyone's.
I don't think it's nice that academy.
I don't mind PSR.
The thing is, get you.
Do you not think Newcastle are held back because of PSR?
Yeah, probably.
To the detriment of the Premier League.
Yeah. And players, you want to see the best. Bellingham should be in the Premier League.
PSR was brought in, right idea, wrong execution.
Yeah,
it's the right thing to do.
They have to have something.
They've ballsed it up massively.
The thing is, they brought it in too late because the horse had bolted. Yeah, look, you could say the horse bolted. Well, you could say the horse bolted back in 2003 when Abramovich came in.
Yeah,
but the City took it to another level. Now Newcastle apparently the richest club, so they could potentially take it to another level. So they're trying to bring it under control. So I see what they're doing. And look, the hearing starts on Monday. We all discussed before we started recording. We said we don't think that's really going to come to anything. They've got, when you've got the most money, you get the best lawyers. You keep knocking it into the long grass.
It will just go dead, and everyone will forget about it.
But with PSR, what you find is you look at City's squad. They're not spending on the same level they were before. It's 1 or 2 players. You could argue they don't need to. Yeah, I mean, I could argue.
They sold Alvarez for 80-odd million, didn't they?
Well, I could argue as well that actually City's squad is a bit old.
Yeah.
Bit old. Looking a bit old now.
A couple of years
they've got a lot of money that they need to spend.
Back in, didn't they?
Exactly.
He's in his 30s now.
So
is in his 30s.
The thing is, and look, this was what our battle was about back in.
When they have Rodri and Haaland in front.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is what our battle was back in 2005. It was the money versus we had David Moores as chairman, the working class, that we can topple the money. And look, you like to remind me, we spent 80 million on Alisson, or I think it was 75, and then big money on Virgil van Dijk. But then at the same time, you guys have said.
I think the Van Dijk money that's out of the question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think Alisson as well.
Yeah.
We've got our books. Well, yeah, we've got our books in order, and I think as a club that has the books in order and isn't having to sell, academy players and do all this, that's why my heart doesn't bleed for you, because I'm thinking, stop your spending, because you don't need it. I mean, yesterday you changed essentially the whole front line, didn't you, in the game?
Yeah.
But you still had, 3 or 4 that weren't in travel that could come in. It's thinking, well,
like Kiernan wasn't even on the bench.
But
they spent 30 million on him.
But that's it. When you sign Sancho, and look, Sancho, Murchy, you said could be a top player. Okay, so could be a top player.
I think
could do really well.
Yeah.
But you didn't need him.
Yeah.
You didn't need him. You know, Mudryk, you said.
We said we didn't need him, but we needed him yesterday.
We needed him yesterday.
But Mudryk might not play 5 games for Chelsea this season. That was 70 million spent on him. But this is what I'm saying, and I think it's your own downfall with that. And look, you get a gem every now and then. Cole Palmer, no one is going to question that he's a top player.
The people were questioning it.
Yeah, they were.
At the time, it was 40 million for what he's
paid one game. Players.
Graveyard club, he's going from City to Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? If
in 3 years' time, Casado's one of the best midfielders in the world, Enzo's one of the best midfielders in the world, Palmer's brilliant, and Nkunku's brilliant, then we'll look back on this time and think, yeah, actually, they probably did get it right. Yeah, they might have probably overspent a little bit on this player and this player, but so many of them came good, you can't even knock it. It's just now it looks crazy because we've got all these players of a average level, and you're thinking, what are these guys doing? But it might come good, and I think that's what we're gambling on. Yeah,
I think the word you hit there was spot on, gamble. I think that's it. Now, look, Chelsea fans, let us know what you think. I think this is the big talking point. This is why Murchy called you a circus. You know, this is why we've spoken about it. I mean, the last thing I want to talk about with this point is obviously Todd Bowley doesn't want to sell. Clearly, want to get Bowley out.
Arguments at the minute.
The thing is, are you, and Michael, you answered this a little bit before when you said, I don't think it's the same as the Glazers. But are you going down that route? Are you going, when you've got this ownership bickering, and look, I can talk about this from first hand with Hicks and Gillette. When they fell out, we were, I think it was an hour away from administration because the owners stopped talking to each other, didn't bicker. One wanted to sell, one didn't. Yeah. And we had to have, was it Martin Broughton come in and do this deal, make it all happen to get FSG in. And, I think a lot of Liverpool fans lose sight of FSG saving us at that point. But this bickering, so not only have you had this system where you're fighting PSR, sending these academy players, having this business model, but now you've got internal bickering.
Yeah.
And surely this isn't good because the reports...
You'd have thought they would have had a conversation about how the club was run.
Well, and I think that's a result of how it happened. I think... Obviously, we brushed over how the club got sold. It was forced, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was, everything happened very quickly. This buyer got lined up. We had this buyer, and Todd Bowley thought, I want a bit of that, because he tried to buy us a couple of years beforehand, and Roman said no. But he had to get a consortium together quickly. So he was like, I know this billionaire, I know these guys, We'll come together, we'll put the money in, and we'll buy the club. And it worked. But I don't think that... Obviously, Bowley's had experience of working in a sports team in America, but no one else had. So they thought about the money aspects of it, but they didn't think about the long process of how we're going to play, how is this going to work in the long term. And I think it's just how the situation came about. It was forced, it was rushed, and that's not Chelsea's fault. It was kind of taken out of our hands, unfortunately. So now we're kind of reaping the rewards of paying the price of that, as it were, and it is a serious matter. Like, we need it happens, and it needs to be resolved quickly. We cannot let it go on for long.
Yeah.
We need to have everyone on the same wavelength, going in the same direction. That's really important.
As a Chelsea fan, would you prefer it to see Todd and the consortium just sell the club and have that new era kind of? As you could say.
Yeah, I don't think we know enough about what their visions are. I think it's hard to say.
Like I said, it's more run like a business, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as a fan, you want to see your club
do
well as a football club.
From the outside of it, it looks like Bowley is more of like an Abramovich. Yeah, he wants to buy the big players. Yeah. He didn't want to sat Pochettino, for what I know.
No.
And it was his idea to buy the big players, the big names like your Koulibalys, your Sterlings, not your young promising players. Yeah. He was more on the Abramovich train of thought, whereas Clearlake were more on the whole buy young
for the future. Yeah.
So on the face of it looks like let's back Bowley because he's the guy who's going to bring in the big players, right? But So that's how it looks like. And maybe if we can, apparently he knows some Saudis who've got a bit of money as well. Maybe if we can get some of them together and hope Dutch Clear Lake will just say, yeah, just give us 2 billion or whatever. And you can have our share, and that's that.
Yeah.
That I think for me that would be the ideal resolution, but there's a long way to go because I can't imagine Clear Lake are interested in selling.
No.
So
Well, they've got a cash cow, haven't they?
yeah,
They've got a cash
and they
cow.
put a lot of money in.
They-
I've
Written off a lot of debt. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's a tough one.
But the fact that doesn't seem to have a resolution is that worrying
It's
in the
worrying.
fact that this bickering means that look, any business, any organisation, when you have the leadership infighting and not together, not working, the business will suffer.
It's worrying, but on the other hand, we've got a good manager. We've got a load of players, right? So even if they come to a head and there's a stalemate and we can't, they say, well, we're not going to buy this, but we're not going to spend any money in this transfer window until we get the issue resolved. We've still got a good group of players and a good manager to work together. I don't necessarily think it's going to necessarily affect the results on the field for the next 4 or 5 seasons, but ideally it needs to be resolved as quickly as possible. But I'm not it's worrying, but not something I'm going to lose sleep over right now. That way. Yeah.
I mean, we're doing a lot looking into the future, and I think this is probably the best time to introduce our last segment of the pod. Now, this is our favourite segment.
Yeah.
Okay, our favourite segment. It is time for Outside the Box. Now, outside the box, we got a bit of stick, Murchy. We got a bit of stick.
Yeah, there was a few comments on other social media platforms that we are on, by the way, so please check us out on there. Weren't agreeing with a lot of our takes, although we did have some agree with some of our more controversial takes. Example is Arsenal finished 4th. I had a few people agree with me with that. But yeah, these takes that we are doing outside the box, they are there to be slightly different.
Yeah, that's it.
And we want them to be, well, outside the box. It's in the name.
Exactly. It's
completely different.
Look, it's a John Duran yesterday. 9 times out of 10, he hits that ball and it does not go in the top bin. Exactly. But he put his head down.
Yeah.
He had that shot, and what a goal. Now,
exactly.
1-0.
It is
So
1-0,
I've got a goal. I've got a goal in the bag. It's Dom versus Michael today. So we're putting Chelsea versus Chelsea. You guys have been pretty agreed on everything so far. Let's see if you disagree on it. Now, here's what's going to happen. You guys are going to take it in turns with your outside the box shot. Murchy and I will discuss, and we'll say, is it a goal? Is it just a pass? Have we just given you, okay?
We'll give you that. Yeah. Keep playing.
Is it a yellow card? And look, we know the game of football, 2 yellows. There were plenty of yellows in your game yesterday.
Good job, Anthony Taylor.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be carded just for talking. 2 yellows equal the red, and a straight red, game stops, and then we see who the winner is. Are you ready, lads?
Bring it on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right,
Come
okay.
on then,
Do we have, who wants to go first?
You want to go first, Dom?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
All right, Dom,
Right,
hit
let's
it
hear
with
it
your outside the box.
Okay. We will finish with less points this season than last season.
Okay.
Go on, give us a bit of just.
What's the context behind that? Why do you think that will happen?
Because we were awful for the majority of last season, and
Yeah.
it was only saved by the last 6 or 7 games
Yeah.
where we got our act together.
Yeah.
And I think that papered over a lot of cracks. I don't think those cracks have been filled in for this season.
Yeah.
I can't see Palmer having as great an impact in terms of goals as he did last season. I think he's going to be brilliant. I think he's pure
a top
class.
player.
Top
But
player,
I think it's a stretch for him to get as many goals and assists as he did last season. And I think with the new manager coming in, a new style of play to adapt, I think we might finish top 6 still, but I think our points tally might be less than last season. That's just my opinion.
I think I'll have to agree with you on that one, if I'm honest with you.
Is it a goal, Murchy?
I would give that a goal personally. I just think
We
know Chelsea is a football club.
We do. I think the logic is there.
I can
I'll give you a
see
goal.
it happening.
We're off the mark.
Yeah, we're off the mark.
1-0.
Yeah.
Michael, pressure.
That is pressure.
That is pressure.
I'm going to go. I've got a real controversial one, but I don't want to get a red card.
Save that till the end. Yeah, till the end.
I'm going to say Enzo can be a great Chelsea captain.
Go on, justify.
Yeah.
Justify.
Are we comparing him to previous Chelsea captains?
So I feel that he has got. You look at what he's done in an Argentina shirt.
Yeah.
You see the passion that he plays with. For me, it goes back to the passion and the fun. I say Cole Palmer. So this is way up again. We talk about this with my lad playing football. I say to him, enjoy it and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And if you're not having fun, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think he plays with fun and freedom. I love that when he took his shirt off, and pointing at the badge, and that kind of cemented him to me. I think he can become a kind of a bit of a legend at Chelsea into those categories of your big Chelsea players of the past. And that is...
Can I say one? Can I ask one thing?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think he has the respect of the other players in the team after what he did over?
I think that's probably paying
Over the comments
now.
The comments, the thing that he did was terrible and shocking.
Yeah.
It's about, has he learned from it? He's got to have apologised. He's got to make amends, and he's got to change those views.
Yeah.
And if he can do that, and he can prove to his Chelsea teammates that he can do that, then that puts him in the league. If he can't, that has no place in football. So if he still believes that, he should walk out the door now.
Is he now then? Has Enzo made him your captain?
I don't think we know who our captain is.
Yeah, that was similar with
James.
James. Yeah, but obviously he just never fit, is it?
No.
So there's no solid he is your captain.
No, but I feel that he can cement himself as the captain.
I just think them comments have massively took a toll on people's outlook of him. And as a captain of a massive club like Chelsea, you can't have your captain going around and doing that publicly.
And again, so John Terry, my greatest favourite Chelsea player, was surrounded in controversy.
Agreed. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Huge controversy.
Yeah.
He's thought of as being one of the best captains in Premier League history.
And again, what did Terry do to make amends for it? Is the character of you've got to be better.
Yeah.
Learn from it. Teach the younger players. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, I get.
So he's got the potential to do that.
Yeah.
And now he should really start working with charity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there needs to be more outreach from him.
There needs to be more outreach from him. And a statement, and this is what I want to do. What I did was wrong.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to
Has there been anything from him since? I know Maresca has addressed it. Maresca has spoken about it. But look, you said there's no place in football. There's no place in life for any of that.
Let me read that.
Absolutely disgusting. And, look, we can talk about various players, John Terry, Luis Suarez, all these players, absolutely vile what they have done and what they've done. I think the worrying thing is there's been nothing from his camp and nothing from him that I can recall where he has addressed that and where he has spoken about it. And it's, then if we take all that away from it and then we start talking about him on the pitch, look, you mentioned this, Murchy, last time. You said as a talent and ability, he was one of the most sought after players in world football. Yeah. Look, he was linked with us at Liverpool and I thought, great, get him in. What a player. When you're talking about Chelsea great captains, you're obviously talking about, your John Terry in there. He's the one that always comes to your mind. You think about Lampard.
A leader.
Yeah.
A leader.
Lampard led from
and that's where it's outside the box.
Yeah, of course.
So he either goes, there's no place for him in football.
Yeah.
If there are his views, there's no place for him in life, exactly as you say. Or he addresses it, he makes a statement of it, and it changes. That's why it's outside the box.
As a player, could be one of the greatest players and midfielders in Chelsea's history if he stays there and plays at the level he can play at. As a captain, I just don't think he's the right man to be captain of Chelsea Football Club.
So where are you giving it, Murchy?
I'm definitely not giving it a goal.
No.
I don't want to give a card for it.
We'll give it a pass.
I think we'll give it a pass.
We'll give it a pass. I think in terms of footballing ability, 1,000%.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I wonder how, and look, I'll get a lot of stick for this one, but how Bruno Fernandes-esque is going to be in the fact that, you know, when things aren't going well, do we see the arms? Do we see this? Do we see that?
Yeah.
This is the turning point for him, isn't it?
Exactly.
This is what he wants.
It's the make or break. It's make or break for him. Yeah, agreed.
It's definitely an outside the box comment.
Yeah.
We'll give it a pass. All right, Dom, over to you.
Okay, so I'll preface this. Basically, my previous one was saying we're going to have less points, which I believe, but I think it will be down to we're going to concede a lot more goals. We'll score goals, but we're going to concede a lot more.
Yeah.
So my next statement is Nicholas Jackson will finish in the top 5 goal scorers this season.
Right.
To elaborate on what Dom says, I believe Jackson will score 20 goals this season. I don't know if it'll be top 5, but
hang on. Could we red card them both? Taxi for this one. Is that it? Right. Do you know what? Murchy made a statement last week where he said Arsenal finished 4th, and I asked the key question. I asked the same now of you.
Yeah.
Who's above him? You say he's in the top 5, so let's say he finishes 5th.
Haaland.
Who's above him?
Haaland, Watkins, Salah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not many. If you look at the scorers last season, Palmer was in there.
Yeah, I can't see Palmer.
If you put Palmer in there,
wait, you think Jackson's going to score more than Cole Palmer?
I think he will. From what I've seen, obviously it's still early on. From what I've seen, Palmer seems to play a bit more further away from goal.
Yeah,
he's dropping back a lot more. He's working a lot harder, but he's on the ball a lot more. But it's further away from the goal, and he seems to be passing it off a lot more than getting in there. So I think he's going to be more of an assister than a scorer this season. Personally, that's what it looks like to me.
And you think Nicholas Jackson? So did you come up with a 4th, or are you thinking that's maybe where he is?
I'd said top 5. I didn't say 5th, so he could finish 4th.
Oof.
I just think he'll be top 5.
I'm not sure on that.
Right, Murchy, come on.
When we were
talking about this before the pod started, how did you describe Nicholas Jackson?
He's a donkey. He's a donkey. You look at some of the misses last season, and I just think technically he's not good enough.
I don't agree.
Technically he's not good enough, and I think there's a lot of similarities for Chelsea and Leicester. I know he was in the Championship last season. We were also playing with a donkey up top in Daka. Very similar players, very quick, very strong. But technically, they're just not there.
Can I tell you someone who everyone called as a donkey and Mr. Loda City in his first season?
Drogba.
Yeah. And he's only a few goals off Drogba as well in his second season.
Now, I'm not comparing the two.
No.
But it happens in the first season.
Well, right. Is Drogba... Would you call Drogba a prolific striker, or would you say that Drogba was somebody that brought everything together?
Scored big.
He brought everything together. Right, we had this conversation as well, and we said Darwin Núñez, Nicholas Jackson. Now, you asked me the question. You said who is better, and I said in terms of attributes, they both look with the attributes they have like they should be world beaters. And look.
Yeah.
We overpaid for Darwin Núñez massively. But neither of them, for me, read the game properly. And you know what? I watched Jackson yesterday, and there was that chance he had.
Yeah.
And I hit it first time. The ball's come to you. You're in a great position. You've got to take that first time.
Right as well. You just got to hit
you can see the defender come in, and he took that touch, and the touch never really got it off his feet. It was the feet.
Yeah.
And with Nicholas Jackson, I think because of the players that he's playing behind, look, you've got with 2 midfielders that you paid over 100 million for. He will get chances.
Exactly. That's one of my big reasons.
That's the reason I say 20 goals.
Can he finish them chances though?
He finished with you. He still scored 17 goals.
Yeah.
Still scored 17 goals last season. And players are meant to improve, right? Season on season. He missed a load. He's going to miss some this season as well. But he's also going to score a lot, in my opinion.
I just think Nkunku as a striker would be better than Jackson.
He might be, but I don't think he's going to start as a striker more than Jackson.
You look at what he did when he came on last night.
Yeah, but Nkunku's going to come in more playing on the left or playing just behind Jackson. I don't think he's going to come on as a starting number 9 Jackson.
Isn't Cole Palmer playing behind Jackson?
Cole Palmer's
You've got
playing
Felix
well.
as well.
Yeah. There's a few.
Yeah.
All right, come on, Murchy. What we doing?
For me, I think that's a yellow card.
Ooh.
I do not rate
Well,
Nicholas
I've not
Jackson.
heard the 5 players who's gonna score more than him this season.
I think Palmer
Okay.
scores more than him
Okay.
this season.
Cool.
No one's touching Haaland. Haaland is just what has he got 9 already?
Yeah.
You can write him off the list.
Yeah.
It's fine. Salah, I think will get a few. I think you'll have Luis Diaz in there this season.
I was going to say the name Luis Diaz.
I think you'll have Luis Diaz in there this season. I don't think Solanke will be in there for Spurs.
What's the most Diaz has scored in this season?
I couldn't tell you, truth be told. But Luis Diaz, I know he had an injury-plagued season.
He looks good this
But he
season.
again, you said, well, gets better each time.
Yeah.
Jota, could Jota get more
Yeah.
goals? He's clearly been our
So
first
who- all
choice.
three.
If it's not Diaz, it could be Jota.
Yeah, one of the other.
Could be. If Diogo Jota gets injured a lot, and that's his big problem. If Diogo
Yeah.
Jota can stay fit, Jota could be a 20 goal.
There may be, but Jackson.
Do you have an Arsenal man in there as well? Does Havertz get in there? Now he's
Saka.
playing Saka as well.
Saka,
I
yeah.
think Saka's going to score more goals than Jackson.
He's on pens as well, isn't he?
yeah.
For Arsenal.
Yeah, Jackson's going nowhere.
No, yeah.
um,
For me, no, not for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if a yellow card's harsh, Murchy. Don't know if a yellow card's
No,
harsh.
I don't think it. I just don't think Nicholas Jackson is good enough for Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea fans might agree, but might disagree.
I'll go with you on it. I'll go with you on it. So yellow card, Doms. You've got a goal and a yellow card. You're on thin ice. Michael.
So I feel like Dom might give me a red card for this. So I think the red card might come from Dom. Is it time that Chelsea consider
I know what he's going to say.
letting Reece James go and stick with Gusto?
Who's going to take him? Who's
Someone
going
with
to
a great
touch it?
physio.
Yeah. The thing is, you could see.
Reece James for me, when fit,
It's
is
even
the
painful
best
saying.
right back in the league.
100%.
But
in the
cannot
world.
stay fit. But
But
cannot
this is
stay
the issue
fit.
with him. He
And-
can't stay
but
fit.
I think I'd be tempted, mate, just to give that a goal.
I would as well.
Because I actually.
So I want to give myself a
I
red card.
actually think that there are teams that would pick him up.
Yeah.
There are teams that would pick him up 1,000%, whether that's in this country, whether that's out.
He
out
can
in
play for
Spain.
any team in the
He's
world.
saying stop selling academy products, and now he's saying
Yeah.
sell Reece James.
But at the same time, thinking about your model, thinking about your business, thinking about how you work, thinking about the wages, all this sort of stuff. And what's the point in having a captain if he can't be on
So
the pitch?
to elaborate on it more, I think Gusto has been really good right back. I think he's been.
Gusto is
I
fantastic.
think he's
He
fantastic.
really is, yeah.
So if Reece James is fit, he pushes him outside.
So who's our backup right back then?
But does Gusto
Any
want to be a
number
backup?
of the players you brought in.
I think if you can get money, get money for Reece James,
Chelsea fans are going to hate. They're going to be saying this.
I think you take that all day because you know what he's like. He's always injured. When he's fit, there's no denying he is probably the best right.
He's a
back.
game. Isn't he?
the outside the box has come to
Yeah.
life now. It's come to life now. Dom, I can see this has cut you
No, I'm gonna.
deep. Cut you deep.
So I've had these thoughts myself, so I'm not mad about it.
I'm not saying sell Reece James. I'm
I'll
saying
be
outside the box. But I like what I've seen Gusto do in the Chelsea shirt.
Mm.
I like him. And
But Reece James is so flexible. He could
Reece
play
James-
midfield.
No, he's not that. He's not that
Reece
flexible.
James
That's why he
wins
keeps getting
games.
injured.
Yeah.
That's it.
he
Definitely
wins games. He up that right flank, balls in, it wins games. You'll argue Trent all
But
day
what-
long. I'll argue Reece James. Do you know what I mean? Incredible. In an England shirt, incredible. But
For me, if you sold Reece James, he could go and play at Madrid.
yeah, I think Real Madrid would want him.
100%. If
He's
he
very
can
young.
stay fit,
And
he's
you know
still
what?
in
I think
Madrid team.
he would do well
Yeah.
because I think the pressure in the league isn't as much. I think they could rest him for a few games. I think the intensity isn't there with the Premier League.
Yeah.
And actually, I think for Reece James, I think if Reece James went to Spain, went to Barcelona, went to Real Madrid, played it right back there, I think you guys as Chelsea fans would be sat watching him play nearly full seasons going, what have we got?
Yeah.
But
Well, then Real Madrid will have Trent at right back.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
So-
like I say, it is outside. But I felt like Dom was going to give me a red card. But
well, we gave you a goal. So
I would give you a goal for
it
that.
is 1-1.
1-1.
Dom, I can tell you're not happy. I can tell this has cut you deep. You're on a yellow card. Go on.
I don't know what I've got left. Okay. Cole Palmer will have more goals and assists than Salah this season. Still, despite what I've said about him playing deeper.
He could. Salah has started well this season. Salah's a different player this season, I think.
Didn't have a great game yesterday.
He didn't know. Liverpool were just shocking in general.
We were.
Down by
Do you know what? Salah yesterday, my dad was at the game and he messaged me and said it's exactly like when we played Palace last season. A game I was at.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at Salah that game and he didn't move. He stayed in one place on the pitch, didn't move, didn't contribute anything. And at that point, I remember leaving the ground because he didn't finish the season well last season. Salah starts the season very well for us normally, and then tails off a little bit. He did have was it AFCON last year?
Yeah.
So he did have AFCON. You know that usually hinders Salah a little bit. Recent years. Yesterday reminded me of that Palace game and this new side of Salah that we're seeing, where it's not like he was with Mane, up and down, making impact. But start of the season. The games before then, phenomenal. Looked like a new player, rested, etc.
Yeah.
Salah is one of the greatest Premier League players of all time. He is phenomenal. Right. He is in the conversation with Liverpool legends. And bearing in mind, because of what we did in the 70s and the 80s, there is an elite list that is untouchable.
Yeah.
Salah is in that conversation.
Yeah.
He is in that conversation, 1,000%. And that's there. But in terms of what you've said there,
is he going Saudi?
Who knows?
I think it's his last season.
Is his head going to be turned by Saudi?
I saw someone say on another football podcast, they said Salah is like a Ronaldo's a winner. And look, I know Ronaldo's gone to Saudi, but Salah is only 32 still? He's not the oldest. I think Salah will be looking at targets and records and things he wants to do. And I think Salah will not believe that he is done with top level football yet. I think he'll look at the money and I think Salah will know that in 2, 3, 4 years' time, he could still get that money in wages, maybe not in transfer fee for us, but he could still get it. So I think if a contract was put in front of Salah, I think he would sign it. Depending on the money we're offering.
Could you see him going somewhere else in Europe? In Spain?
Possibly. I don't know. I hope he doesn't because I think he's got a lot to offer. I think he can still cut it. In terms of what you said, though, Cole Palmer could get more goals and assists than Salah. I think if we look at the evidence of Mo Salah from the last couple of seasons where he's still hit great numbers, they've not quite been what they have been before. And look, I really want to be able to show my face back at Anfield again. I can see what you're saying.
Can't give him a card for that.
No, I wouldn't. I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
My bias can't give you a goal. But I'll throw that over to Murchy. Go on, Murchy.
I can't give a goal for that because of what I said last week, and it would contradict my views from last week.
Yeah.
Palmer, I think, is a sensational player. He should have started for England in the Euros for me. I think numbers wise, it'll be very close. It'll be very close. It's still early days for Chelsea and Enzo systems. I still don't know where his set position will be. Whether he'll be in midfield, whether he'll be in a 10, whether he'll be out wide, I don't know.
Yeah.
So for me, I can't say, that's going to happen. Yeah. But I think it will be very close.
It's a good outside the box shout.
Yeah.
He scored more goals than Salah last season.
Yeah. For me, it's nothing for me. I think
all right.
It's just a pass.
So we all right, okay, pass. Okay. Still in the game. Michael, it's 1-1.
It's 1-1. So I thought Don was gonna go the same as me. So and I've said this before. I've been quite vocal on this, which is crazy because Palmer didn't come to us that long ago. I put him in the top 5 of Premier League players.
What, last season?
Yeah.
Last season.
I say he's in the top 5.
Okay. Give me your 5.
Give me your 5?
Yeah, give me your top 5.
I've not thought of that top 5 off my head.
Right,
but it's more for you to tell me who's in front of him.
Yeah.
Okay, Haaland.
I think he's
Haaland,
Rodri.
KDB.
Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne. There's 3 from City alone.
Wait, are we talking about this overall?
I know, in his position.
In his position.
Okay.
So I'm thinking your Sakas, your Mo Salahs, your... Do you know what I mean? So wingers, like, around that position, left or
I'm
right.
not swapping Palmer for anyone in that position.
No.
In the Premier League.
So out and out players like Palmer. So
I still don't know. Like I said a minute, I still don't know Palmer's position.
I think
he can play in multiple.
I think it's madness he didn't start for England.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And I think Man City have let a real gem go there.
Is he better than Foden?
Yeah, that was another one. That was another one.
I think he is. And this goes back to the debate of similar to Ronaldo Messi. So I think Messi is a technically better player, but Ronaldo scores these big goals.
Yeah,
Foden is very technical with the ball.
I wouldn't necessarily say he's technically better.
But Palmer can his vision
effective.
and his passes and it's more effective. Yeah, more effective than Foden.
No.
So I'll give you that midfield front. I'll give you that. Name me 5 better players.
I would say Foden is better than Palmer.
Okay.
Oh.
So you're going to put Foden in the top 5. Give me 4 more.
If you said to me,
Liverpool,
who would I rather have? I'd have Phil Foden. The technique. Look, what we're remembering is Foden in the Euros, and Foden in the Euros, awful out on the left.
He stinks it for England.
He's not a left winger, and I'm thinking about the front.
I don't think he was
He
confident.
played in the middle. Did he score?
I don't think he was confident in England shirt.
No, I don't think he was.
nervous.
But I think if you look at what
Man
England,
City fans.
He's a pep player. He plays great in a pep system. He doesn't really fit.
yeah, but that's it. The greatest manager, arguably, the Premier League's ever seen, and he plays incredibly well for him.
So to add to outside the box, I know you were saying that Palmer doesn't fit in with the plan. Did the greatest players in the world just play? They just play football. They play anywhere. They don't matter who they play for. Don't matter if they're out of position. They're the greatest players.
Yeah, Palmer's proved he can do. He's done it at City, he's done it for England.
But there is a big difference between. Murchy, I know you agree with this. Pep and Southgate.
Jesus!
And
I could have a whole hour talking about Southgate and how out of his depth he was and has been. Okay, there's no comparison there. That is like.
Look, the big criticism that England get thrown out with tournaments as well. I think it has to be factored in as well. The Premier League is the most competitive league in the world.
Yeah.
Look, a result like us losing to Forest yesterday. We look at it, and go, wow, but anybody can beat anybody.
It happens multiple times.
You know, look, Bayern Munich yesterday. People were saying Harry Kane hat-trick. I can't even pronounce the team that played. You know, can't even pronounce the team that played. It's
that's in English as well, isn't it?
So it's one of those, and I think a lot of our players, when they get to international tournaments, they look knackered, and it's understandable. In Man City, where they compete on every single front. I don't think we'd ever see the best of Phil Foden in an England shirt because we see the best of him in a City shirt.
Exactly.
And look, you cannot argue with the numbers for Man City, the trophies he's won for Man City, the fact that he's been Pep's boy. You know, never let him leave on loan, never inconsequent. He's been Pep's boy. So for me,
he's never had a season as good, prolific as Palmer has, and this is his first season.
And I feel Palmer,
but he hasn't needed to. Look, Palmer, great player because. When you needed someone, because my God, you were awful last year. You needed someone, and Palmer stepped up, and wow, look,
could Foden have done that?
By storm.
Yeah, could Foden have done that? That's a good point.
I don't think.
Could Foden have done that?
If we signed Foden,
can Palmer be as prolific as Foden is at City? We already know that he's played at City. He fits in. I think he could do the numbers that Foden does, but I don't think Foden could do them at Chelsea.
No.
I think
that's why I think
so. All you can go off,
out and right player.
All you can go off is technical ability because you're never going to be able to take, you're never going to be able to take Phil Foden and put him in that Chelsea team last season and put him as the false nine that was playing for you because Foden, even when he played as the false nine for Man City, had Mahrez, had these types of players cutting in. His job was get the ball to these quality players, whereas Palmer's job was
everything went through him.
Save us.
Everything went
getting
through
the ball.
Palmer
It was save us. You can see the tactics board of Poch yesterday.
Yeah. Well, no, Lampard was better, wasn't he?
everything. They all just have to do everything, whereas Lampard was part of a fine-tuned team that's thinking of everything.
I would say Gerrard was technically better than Lampard.
That's a debate for another day.
Yeah, it's the age-old debate, isn't it?
Yeah.
The age-old debate. And, I may contradict myself here. Gerrard obviously won as a Champions League playing, playing as a 10, playing as a 8, playing as a right back. He was everywhere. He could do everything. We won't get into that debate because that is one that is there.
Take a long time. Yeah.
So
and you're never going to change my mind on it. So
we're never going to change my mind. For me, Stevie G is the pinnacle. Right. So Palmer, you said in top 5 in his position.
Top 5 across the
ones that you could. Oh, but if you put across the front line, you're talking about Haaland as well. Right, so you're saying behind the striker out wide.
As a 10 or as
10 or out wide.
As a winger.
Right, so you got Saka, who you could compete with. Okay, you got Saka to compete with. You got Foden who you compete with. You got KDB who you compete with. KDB plays in the 10. You've got Salah. You've got Diaz. You've got thinking about going through the 10s. Thinking about the team.
Son for Spurs.
You've got Son, great shout. You've got Bruno Fernandes. Could possibly go in there.
Yeah.
We're not putting Anthony in there.
Anthony.
Right.
He's the best, we're saying. The best of any of them players.
I'm saying he's in the top 5.
He's in the top 5, okay.
Top 5. I don't think that's outside the box to say it's top 5.
No, I think that's fairly common.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that's outside the box to say be.
All right. I'll change it then. I think I wouldn't swap him for Saka. I think he's better than Saka.
I think they're different players.
Same position though.
Same position, different players.
But if you said to me, you can swap out swap, I'd say no. He's better than Saka. And I like Saka. I've got no.
I'm not getting hate from the Arsenal fans. It ain't me who's getting the hate.
In an English I love Saka.
Wow, this is why I love this segment.
I think when we were watching England play, I said, and how many times did I say it? Palmer starts in front of Saka for me.
For England?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so.
Well, I think Saka proved that he was right to start in that position.
If anything, it's Foden who shouldn't have been starting for England.
Yeah. To me, Saka is more of a one-dimensional player compared to Palmer. He does one thing and he does it great.
He's a good player. I got no hate for Saka.
Right, here's how we're going to cut this. Right, Juan Pablo Angel, Michu, James Beattie. All these players, they have in common, they had one awesome season.
Streets won't forget kind of players.
Awesome season. Cole Palmer has had one awesome season so far. We've all said we think he could drop a little bit this year. Yeah. I think you cannot put him above Saka because Saka's been more consistent over the years and he's only getting better.
Same with
you
KDB.
Cannot put him over KDB, Salah, all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
So if you're saying top and you wouldn't swap him, I'm giving you a yellow card. I'm giving you a yellow card for that one. Giving you a yellow card for that one. We all good, Murchy?
Yeah,
awesome. Right. So we got 2 yellow cards. We got 2 goals. This one, Dom, could be the winner.
I've got one, but I don't think we've come this far. So it's
throw it out.
Is it a shambles?
Throw it out. That's the thing.
I think it's probably not too controversial after what I've already said. So. We conceded a record 63 goals last season, and we'll break that record this season.
I will have more goals scored against us this season.
I'll have to agree with you on that. Again, knowing Enzo's system.
I don't think that's outside the box in the slightest. I think that's...
No.
So, I don't think it's outside the box, but I think we have got a good defence.
I don't.
Do you know?
You're relying on Fofana who's always injured.
Young defenders.
I think Fofana's good defender.
Fofana's class.
I think he's good.
I don't like him.
We've got individually
Colwell, good player.
Colwell, I really like Leonardo.
Colwell,
good player.
Yeah.
Cucurella, if he can do what he did in the Euros.
Fofana's constantly will get injured. Colwell will get injured. And then it's Badiashile and
Disasi, that's you're talking for trouble then, ain't you?
Right backs are always injured.
Yeah.
Cucurella's hit and miss.
Yeah, you're talking for trouble if once injuries start.
We don't have a proper number one goalkeeper.
And that's why I don't think it's necessarily. I don't think it's here or there because if you get no injuries at the back, you will not concede as many as
No
last
chance.
season.
Yeah, so you're talking injuries, aren't you?
If
You're
you
talking
get
injuries.
if you get injuries, yes,
take
you
the
will.
injuries out of the equation. Have Chelsea got a good back four?
In my opinion, we've got good, talented defenders.
Young, quick,
but
good tacklers.
we needed a leader in there. We needed Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
We don't have one. They're like kids just playing together.
They are, yeah.
It's a mess. They've not got
The
anyone
most experienced
organising
player
around.
there is Fofana,
Yeah, and he was
who
out
had
last season.
2 good seasons with us, and then he
Yeah.
was injured for a year, which happened again with you when it comes to you.
It's
It
heart
was a
attack. It's
broken-
heart attack. Every time a team's got the ball near our goal, seriously, it's mayhem. Yesterday, it was the stuff I was seeing is crazy. Players eventually wrestling the ball back, kicking it out, going straight to one of their players, bringing it back in. Players throwing around everywhere. It's just a mess. I've got no faith in us being able to keep a clean sheet at all. I don't know how we did it last night. It's a disaster. We're going to be saved by the goals that we score, but we're going to concede a lot.
Yeah, I think you will.
So we've just given a pass. We just said,
Just give it a pass. I think that's just
right.
Yeah.
Michael,
So-
it's 1-1. It's 2 yellow cards.
So I'm gonna have to think of one on the fly.
Or just go controversial. Just go with a big one.
yeah.
Controversial.
A Chelsea outside the box statement. Because I think you guys have played it quite safe the last couple of
Oh
ones.
yeah.
That one definitely.
Okay.
Safe,
Yeah.
I agree.
And at Murchy, I think we've got to step in
Alright.
if it's too safe.
Again,
it's a yellow card.
Yeah, agreed.
if it's too safe,
Yeah.
it's a yellow card.
It's like wasting time, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna go Anthony Taylor.
Anthony
with it.
Taylor,
I'm gonna go
mate.
Anthony
Yeah, that's
Taylor
it
with
now.
yeah.
Anthony Taylor's
for
turned
the
up.
money that we paid for Casado, if you take injuries out of it, Lavia's look better.
In the 2 games that he's played.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he's not paid a lot, has he, Lavia?
But what he has played,
I think for me, Casado, if he stays fit,
It's a baller.
is one of the best midfielders in the league. That's if he stays fit. There's a reason Liverpool were after him.
weren't Liverpool after Lavia?
They were after Lavia.
All of them.
I just think
second week in a row, we're back on that one. Fantastic.
Did he reject Liverpool?
So it's okay. You got Endo. You got this one.
Yeah, and like I say, this is straight off the cups. But I haven't thought of this. But from what I've seen Lavia do, I've been really impressed with him.
I have.
Mm.
No, he
And
played. Yeah.
I think he
knows the system. He knows the way.
Yeah,
that,
I think he could
plays.
be really, really
Mm.
good and prolific in that position.
I just really like Casado. I think he's like quality.
He is. He's
I
quality.
think
And like I say, this is
absolutely
I'm not
fantastic,
by
yeah.
one means saying, but I've said,
Yeah.
has the price tag that we paid for him
It's a lot.
muddied the.
It is a lot of money.
You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
performance where Lavia wasn't nowhere near the cost,
Mm.
but his look.
60
really
mil
showed.
wasn't Lavia.
Still quite a lot of money,
Quite a
yeah.
lot. The only thing, the thing is, when you first said it, I thought there's a yellow card because we've seen Lavia, like you said, twice in a Chelsea shirt.
Yeah.
But then I think back to how good he was at Southampton. I think back to how highly he is rated in the world of football.
Yeah.
I think he looked amazing against a Man City.
He was probably our best player in that game.
And then I'm thinking, is it an outside the box shout? I think you've got 2 top quality midfielders.
Oh, arguably, if
Yes.
they're both fit and they play well, we've got the
Yes,
the
I
I
best
think the
in the
bigger
league.
shout would have been to have them 2 instead of Enzo.
What, take Enzo out?
Take Enzo out.
I played Enzo a bit further forward. But
Well, if you had
Palmer,
Palmer, if you had Palmer, Lavia, and Caicedo, what's better than that 3?
Again, it comes back to the conversation with Enzo earlier. Will he kick on as a player? It's only time will tell.
and has a lot.
And we don't know who Chelsea are going to buy coming up because we've named 3 players, but that's not enough for you guys. You
No,
need like
yeah,
9 in
9.
that same position.
Yeah.
Murchy, come on, what are we giving that one?
I'm not sure. It's not a goal.
No.
It's not a goal. Definitely not a goal. If I could go really Anthony Taylor here and just hand out a yellow card.
bit cardy.
Yeah.
Do you know
I
what?
just don't think we've seen enough of Lavia.
No, I don't. But I think
In a Chelsea shirt, anyway.
no.
And when he was in the Southampton shirt, they
But
went
when we
down.
talked
So-
about Neto coming in and all these players, when Lavia played, did he not look?
Oh, I like Lavia. I
took
really like
control
Lavia.
of the game.
Yeah, I really like
Do you know what I
Lavia.
mean?
Yeah,
He's established himself. If
Yeah.
he's fit, he starts.
he should start.
He should start.
He should-
1,000%.
if he's
Yeah.
fit, he
1,000%.
starts.
The debate isn't. I don't think the debate isn't Caicedo or Lavia to start. I think when they're
No,
fit, they
it's
start.
not.
I think it's Lavia and Enzo for me. And have Palmer as a 10.
So you'd support what Michael said then, the fact that you'd say, because Michael said Lavia would be better than Caicedo. So you'd support that then?
I don't know.
I feel like Dom wants to give me another red
I
card.
don't know.
No.
I don't know.
I feel like that is.
I like it both. I'm not saying by any means
that is the question.
I don't think we need to shoot necessarily either.
But I think Lavia can be such a talent, but everyone talks about the price tag of Caicedo and what he can do. And
Yeah. I mean, Casado's had some shoddy games for us. Like last season, he had some.
he's
poor,
made
poor
some
games.
mistakes, hasn't he?
Very sloppy sometimes. His head is
Caught on the ball.
But then he did score from halfway line as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to hand this one over to you, Adam. My hands are.
I don't. If we'd have, as I said to you last week on the podcast, if we'd have signed either of them, I think last season we take Arsenal and City a lot closer than we did. I think they're both absolutely top players.
Yeah.
It hurts me that you've got both of them. Made us look like an absolute joke in doing so. I don't think there's necessarily anything controversial about what's been said. I could see why it's outside the box because you're talking about the money, you're talking about the games played. So I can see why it's outside the box. So I'm not going to card you for it not being outside
Casado's
the
a
box.
great player. He did great things. I mean, he's a great
I think it's a pass, Dom. I think it's back to you. Have you got any more?
Got any more?
Or do you want to just call it a draw?
I think we just call it.
Up. No? Am I winning?
It's 1-1.
It's 1-0.
It's 1-1.
1-0 both booked.
Okay. Let's call it a draw.
We'll call it a tie.
We call it a tie.
We'll call it a draw.
Wow, that was it.
Well, there you go.
That was it.
Plenty of discussion on that one.
Put one in the comments. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. What have you got?
Someone go Team Michael, someone go Team Dom, and then these
Who
two
wins?
decide who's the
Who
winner.
wins?
Who
We'll find
wins?
out.
That's
Put
it.
another one in the comments.
Yeah.
So yeah, the next to both of you right now, you have our lovely goal graphics.
Yeah, somewhere.
But that means Murchy. That means how it finishes is if we look at the leaderboard overall, I've got a goal.
I've still
Dom's got a
nothing.
goal.
Yeah.
Michael's got a goal.
Yeah.
You're
still,
lacking.
still no goals.
You're Everton.
I feel like Calvert Lewin. Can't finish my dinner. Yeah, so we'll have to work on that, I suppose.
Right. So the last thing we need to do, lads,
Yeah.
the last thing we need to do is we need to rate our food for footy. We have demolished our boo burgers.
went about
here.
an hour and a
They're
half
all
ago.
gone. Yeah. What do we think?
So, yeah, banging. Normally I'm a fries. Do you know what I mean? I know it says fries, but the chips were big.
The
and
chips
chunky.
are really nice.
But they were really nice.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
they're
mean? The chips
Yeah,
were
they're like
absolutely
these curly
beautiful.
kind of,
Yeah, we should have showed them to you, but they were.
Yeah.
And the burger, yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful food, man.
Do you know what the chips? What I liked because you know when you get chunkier chips,
Yeah.
sometimes you get some harder ones.
Yeah.
Beautifully soft.
Yeah.
Not too greasy. They didn't feel
Yeah.
like I was. You know, it's not taking on loads of
Yeah.
grease from that.
But quite happily sitting in the pub, watching a game of football
Yeah.
with that kind of food. Brilliant.
100% would recommend.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
recommend.
You heard it there. Boo Burger. Good food for footy. Fantastic. Right. Can I just say a big thank you to our
Yeah.
Chelsea fans for joining us
Really
today.
appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Dom. Thank you, Michael, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Murchy, always a pleasure.
Always.
Next week, we got a big one.
Yeah,
We
got a
thought
big
this was a debate. Murchy and I are
Yeah.
taking on the age-old question.
Yeah.
What makes a big club? What makes a big club? Right, get involved. On the socials, Murchy put a little link.
Yeah, there'll be
Awesome.
a block
Put a little
somewhere.
link. Tell us what you think about this week's episode. Tell us what you think about some of the comments that were said. If you've got your own Boo Burger review, drop that in there as well. And what do you think makes a big club? Right, thank you guys for watching. Stay part of the community. Hope you enjoyed this episode. See you later.
Beautiful.